Athletic dads, welcome back to the channel. Hey, my tip of the day is to bring friends in to train, to keep you accountable, to push yourself, and to make sure you're working hard. Every session that I have with somebody else, and especially two other high-level athletes, is always better than a session that I would have by myself. So that is my tip of the day. We are going to introduce our guests. We got Pete and we got Coach Alfonso. Pete came all the way out here from Avon to get a session in. He's our volleyball guy over there, really great trainer, wealth of knowledge. We do a lot of vertical jump stuff today. I'll have him break down what we do. And then also for Zoe, gotta give love to Zoe because his best friend, Cedric Wilson, was the first person I saw in an Allen Iverson shirt like this, who I think is the greatest athlete of all time. So I put this on because I knew Zoe was training with us and said, shout out to you because we know you'll be watching. I'm sure he's a subscriber, especially as Zoe starts making his, making his rounds here on the YouTube channel. So Pete, tell us what we got going on today.
Yeah, so we're gonna work through a full lower body day, kind of up and down the spectrum of everything that you could do for a lower body day. We're gonna work some jump performance. We're doing a contrast series. We're gonna do some pin squats, so just working, driving from the bottom and out, and then we're gonna do some approach jumps and some bouncy jumps over kind of the benches just to see just what kind of heights we can get, some elastic work too. We're gonna take some jumps at a basketball rim just to see how high we're touching. I'm sure these two are gonna beat me a little bit, but I'll put my ego to the side for that a little bit. And then we'll do some full range of motion squats just to make sure the body is getting full body love, a little bit of slow work for the tendons, ligaments, and all the joints to be healthy, and just hopefully we'll all look a little bit better by the end of it. I think that's always what you're looking for.
Heck yeah, and Zoe's just getting back on the grind. Back into the performance training grind. Former professional football player, player of the year over in Japan. Played at Idaho in college. I mean, super incredible football player, great athlete, better guy. Got anything else to say to the people before we get into it?
I mean, nothing much, really. Just like you said earlier, just surrounding yourself around people that's gonna make you work hard, make you just to give you that drive to reach that potential that you can really reach. That's it.
Amen. Let's get after it. Here we go.
And normally I would have I would line up the device, the VBT app, just to see how fast I'm moving, keep it in a range. So as long as you feel like you're popping off the ground with some power, just keep running that. By now I know what 0.5 looks like versus 0.7, my meters per second. So if I feel like I'm dropping off below a 5.5 and I'll record it, I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll cut it there and then drop the weight even more and then get a couple of good quality sets in. It's like when you reach a heavy 5-rep max, but then you're feeling a little grindy. It's like, okay, let's take 25% of it off or some number, and then you do 2 sets of 5. It's the same thing. Yeah, you're just working quality fast reps with it. A little different with it. Oh, fuck. Speed, dude. Yeah, I'm going from the bottom. That's why I left it here, just so I could just get up and reset. Yeah, I'm thinking just all 0 to 100 RFD.
So jump variation that we're pairing with our pin squats is we're going up over the bench. As soon as we land off the second bench, we're hitting the jump mat, trying to get up off the ground as fast as we can. So we're tracking height, but we're also trying to stay pretty strict to a quick kind of elastic bounce off the ground, as opposed to dropping down into a squat and kind of compressing. We're trying to smack that jump mat, get up as quick as we can.
It's like being a spring where you load versus a bouncy ball where it's get. Yeah. Where you don't deform your shape at all, just bounce, just touch it and go. So. Oh, almost just flew off that. 30.9.
Couple weeks, couple more.
Yeah, sets of 3, sets of 4. Yeah. There we go.
So just talk currently about what your programming has looked like, what you've been doing, and what your specific kind of outcomes and goals are that you're looking for.
Yeah, recently I really always train for the same things, a little bit of strength, a little bit of speed, a little bit of power. Because I'm so kind of in the vertical jump realm, I'm trying to get that approach jump up. But I'm kind of just playing around with what training split I like most. I've been obsessing over is upper lower really something for me? Is full body really stuff for me? Right now I settled on I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then a Saturday or Sunday, whatever fits, and then Monday, Wednesday's full body, Friday's lower, and then weekend upper pump, you know what I mean? So that's been really how I've done it. And just playing with any kind of training method I find interesting for the week. So.
World Long Drive Rookie of the Year, Ronnie Shin, here last week, and he talked about Pete had accommodating resistance programmed for him. And so he talked about that a little bit. He's like, I don't really know. Ask Pete. So like, talk about why you're doing that for Ron.
Yeah, he's like, a Hoosier doesn't have no chains. And I'm like, come on, man. Those are like Home Depot for whatever price. No, but so like accommodating resistance, when you have like bands and chains and stuff like that, as you stand up, either bands or chains are going to add resistance. The chain links coming off the ground, the band's getting tighter. It's getting harder at the top as you go. So if I'm standing up through a squat with bands, the band tension is slowly getting tighter, so the resistance is getting more on the way up. Versus chains as well. You sit, chain links get on the ground. You stand up, the chain links come off the ground. It gets heavier on the way up. So the more I have to accelerate against the forces of gravity because it gets heavier, the more I'm able to push at a faster rate, which jumping, sprinting, all that stuff pretty much applies to. So, and especially for Ronnie, golf in itself is a lot more of a vertical force aspect sport. He's rotating a lot, but he has to center himself and he has to push through the ground for ground reactive up and down forces. So if I can get him faster through that, then I feel like it's going to have a lot of attribute to his golf swing. And plus, he's deadlifting 600 pounds at this point. Like, why don't we work some power stuff and see what happens to you for a couple weeks of a training cycle, you know what I mean? And he just wanted a little direction. Yeah. And he just wanted a little direction as far as numbers, because he had a while where it was just like, show up, do this rep max, do this rep max. I'm like, let's just finite things a little, see if it works. He could need that heavy training style, and he might not thrive if he doesn't go above 80%, but we'll find out at the end of 3 weeks, and it's a good experiment for him, so. Boom. 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 Yeah. Springy, that was a good one.
28. So I've always considered myself like a strength-based jumper.
Yes.
Right? So I need a little more knee bend and a little more build up to be able to jump pretty high. So doing something like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because this, and I talked about it last week, trying to do jump variations that are difficult. Like this is definitely difficult for me.
For sure.
It's just putting the constraints around it and not allowing me to do what I feel is the easiest and the best way to be able to produce force. So that makes stuff like this so fun and then frustrating because you want to be great at it. 27, yeah, I mean, not even. So 3 jumps I think will be good, and then I'm gonna see if a little squat keeps me in the game. 32.8, right? So it's just like 32.8.
Okay. Yeah.
So just like a little extra. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, could more of a knee bend keep me competitive? Yeah. And it's like a little bit extra helps send me to the roof. Here we go. Push, big push. Yes, money. Good, it's a shorter range of motion.
Well, they talk about all the science stuff for contrast training I enjoy, which is good. But I can't really translate a lot of that to the kids sometimes. So what I think about is that let's make a mental connection. The brain's gonna connect everything in your body anyway. So it's this range of motion, I need you to push hard against gravity with the squat as fast as you can. Go to this one, what was that feeling you just had? Turn that over. Bring that to what you just did. It's just a one-to-one step, and I think that's where the benefits really are. They talk about post-activation, tension, all that stuff. It's whatever. It's kids don't give a damn about muscle fibers. Tell them to use the feelings they just felt and get them there. So I think that's what I've really enjoyed from it as of late. Yes. I think it's been really good.
I remember when I first learned about PAP principle, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Post-activation potentiation, it sounds sick.
Yeah.
You see videos and you're like, yeah, that's it, right? And then you start to kind of see what happens to the general movements, right? If it's a max effort strength exercise and you're pairing 2 or 3 other exercises with it, you're not able to put as much effort into that, and then the jumps aren't as good, and then, so it starts to, the argument starts to crumble down on itself. But I still like the idea, like you're saying, of keeping that stuff in. And even if it's just to keep athletes busy and competing, right? It's squat, but I also want you to compete in a vertical jump, and I also want you to compete in that. That's gonna get more buy-in and output than anything that we say from a muscle fiber
100%.
standpoint, right?
Yeah. Drive,
Yes, Pete. Oh, yeah. Dude, and it just looks athletic. I don't know how the front squat looks, but back squat from a pin looks so athletic. Like if you were to take that weight off, you'd be able to push through the ground just as hard to hit your head on the ceiling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. That feels great. That looks great.
I'm not necessarily trying to get my feet off the ground. I'm just trying to move fast. You know, it's like simple as we can, move that bar fast and see what happens. And that's kind of where it took me. So, and I will say for stuff like this, like afterwards, we'll do some full range of motion work because this is like a lot of stiffness work, right? Like this is a lot of working from lengthened positions up, which, you know, is a lot on your tendons, ligaments, and everything. So what I like to do after this is like full range of motion, like maybe like 65% full range front squats where we're just going as slow as we humanly can both ways to give the tissue to love after we just beat the hell out of it. You know what I mean? So that's something I've really been playing with is like eccentric training, like all the time. You know what I mean? Especially for jumpers, it's like they talk about like eccentrics make you sore, like this is not a in-season thing. I'm like, well, maybe not, because if we take something out, we're just losing the benefits anyway. So how can I keep this great benefit of everything and take away the downsides as much as I can and get it still? So that's something I've been playing with a lot with my in-season athletes is finding a good percentage range to where we're doing eccentrics, we're not compromising our nervous system, not beating the hell out of our body so much. So I think that's something we'll play with.
All right, so what do you think? Make this our last set of jumps. As much knee bend as humanly possible, as much as you need, and we'll just figure out who goes the highest.
Yeah,
cool?
We'll let this one rip.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. 35.6. Oh. All right.
Yeah.
So as much knee bend as possible?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
All right, bet. Oh my God, 34.4. See it.
36.
Oh man, 36.9. Oh, I already missed. Yeah, that one was not good. A 31.
Okay.
I was like falling over there. I was like too far back on my heels.
See that one?
4.9. Come on.
Oh, fuck. Oh my God, that was my worst one. I
think that's a huge thing that differentiates good athletes and elite athletes. Is like the good athletes are always trying their best to like really express movement a certain way or make it look pretty or be really focused on the task. The great athletes don't even think about that, right? And then people are like, whoa, what were you thinking about when you did this? And you're like, what do you mean? What was I thinking about? Right? It's like good and great and maybe even great and elite, right? There are definitely some levels to it where the good ones are like, yeah, man, this is, right? And the great ones are like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I just did it. I just jumped, you know? Yeah, dude. So we're gonna go a couple max effort 2-foot jumps. We're gonna put our hand as high up on the backboard as we can. Maybe we'll stay just to like the left of the backboard. And I think that'll be a kind of a sick angle. And then we'll be able to see, yeah. We'll kind of be able to see from the camera angle. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. And then
a lot of it is rhythm.
yes, dude.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, like I've been frequently found on like some comment sessions of some Instagram pages that I just don't think are very good, of stuff that they like post like a training method they've done or whatever. And sometimes I'm not just straight out like you're an idiot, and more so just I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you getting out of this? And I'll hear like nothing or some bad response. It's like, you got to defend your keep of what you're doing. Like if you're just having these kids do stuff and you can't tell them the why or the what and really get into it, like then that's your problem, and that's probably where you need to go up. Like just doing a bunch of stuff that, you know, isn't good is not going to benefit them. Like I always make sure my athletes know, like, this is a training method we're doing. I want you to know why we're doing it. And by the end of the 2-3 week block we have, tell me why you did it again. Like, regurgitate it to me so that I know that my message is getting across to you. And if a trainer can't do that, you're probably just wasting some time. And he's listening to me while just ripping front squats, so. Yeah. But yeah, know your shit. Like, you know, you got to go beyond college a little bit. You got to buy books. You got to learn from people you like, and you got to get on the floor and train people. Else you're just not worth a damn in this industry. I don't think so. Just get after it a little bit and get yourself mentally ready and get your kids mentally ready. You're not doing your kids any favor. And if I can dap you up after a conversation like that, then we're in a good spot. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to be wrong about things because then I'm improving. If something that I was trying to do before was challenged and I think I was wrong, then I learned something and I've like grown a little bit. But you know, there are those times where people who are charlatan-esque, are putting out information out there that's just like, not very good. Like some local coaches, we know all that. It's like, maybe I don't be so nice at that time. And maybe I should, maybe in a better world it could, but it's like, we're all trying to make money doing this. And at the end of the day, like, I want to make money, but also help people. I want that 50-50 trade-off to be there. It's like, it's probably more 50-50. I've trained a lot more kids for free than, most people probably ever have trained in their life. So, yeah, it gets a little negative sometimes, but at the end of the day, we're all just trying to help these kids, I hope. So I hope we can make everyone better by the end of it. Because I think he had some kind of disagreement with a guy that I look up to, Matt Watson, who's like the plyometric guy and everything. Yeah, he had some kind of like discourse with him where they disagreed on something, and it didn't seem like the most positive from like a comment or two. I could be completely wrong. It's just kind of what I run into, but like it seemed afterwards like they just like agreed about something, right? Yeah, and shout out to Joachim for the forehead snatches. That dude goes crazy. Influencers don't care about their bodies anyway, It's like face outward, do SARMs, like be scared of girls. Like that's kind of the influencer mark at that point. I don't blame them. Women are terrifying.